Hi everybody, it's Ace Scorch. Welcome to the first in a small series I'm doing called My Least Favorite Pokemon, where I look back on Pokemon from all the generations and find my 5 least favorites, whether it be due to anime reasons, aesthetically pleasing, game content-wise, and etc. So, will you enjoy? And without further ado, let's start with number 5, which is the Zubat. I'm sure there's a lot of people from the first gen days that despise Zubats with a passion. They literally in almost every single cave or dark crawl space of Kanto that just constantly pop up over and over again. And what worsened it for me back in the days is, remember, Game Boys ran on batteries, so there were plenty of times I'm trying to survive on the last bit of juice, and oh, I've run into my millionth Zubat that decides to blast out Confusion Ray again and again and again, and oh, my team's died because they've confused themselves and killed themselves over, and well, back to the start of the dungeon, or back to the Pokemon Center, and oh, Game Boys died. This Pokemon will never cease to anger me, no matter how much time has passed. Which is funny because there's so many bad Pokemon out there, but this one just sticks in my craw for many years to come. And it probably still will, to this day. On to the next one. We have none other than Jigglypuff. Jigglypuff, honestly, I didn't care for this Pokemon more on an anime perspective, as it just seemed like a constant troublemaker at every possible turn. Just out of nowhere, oh, time to put you to sleep with my song, and oh, if no one liked it, they'd just draw on people's faces, be like, fuck you. It's like, well, first of all, you put people to sleep, how can they tell you how good or bad your song was? It just seems so counterintuitive. Like, maybe if you tried something, oh, I don't know, more energetic instead of sleep-inducing, people would care more. Or, oh, I don't know, find a better audience. The third game on my least favorite Pokemon is Tentacruel. Honestly, I've always thought that Tentacruel was cooler. Even looking back at the anime with the episode with the giant Tentacruel destroying the city, always really freaked me out looking at it. Just some giant monstrous tentacle creature. And nowadays, it's all like, it's the giant hentai monster almost. And it's like, I can't look at Tentacruel the same anymore. Even regardless, I've just never thought its moveset was one of the best to keep it around as a useful Pokemon. Now sure, other people, probably better Pokemon players than myself, could find use for it, but I just don't seem to care enough for Tentacruel in the least. And then we're moving on to number 2 of our lovely Pokemon, which is none other than Pinsir. Honestly, Pinsir just looks weird. It's just as plain and simple as it is. It's always been a weird looking Pokemon when the first gen is concerned. As I get the pincers on its head, and it's just the mouth in its... It just looks weird. It's like, why are his pincers on top of his head when they could just be in front of his face? Type scenario. Which, I mean, I get it's Pokemon. They're not supposed to look normal, but it always just looked weird to me, and I could never get over that fact. Even to this day. So, it's always just going to be kind of in the trash bin for me. And number 1, none other than Alakazam. Now, I get what you're thinking. Why hate Alakazam? It's a good Pokemon. And to some extent, I can understand that, but at the same reason, that's kind of why I've always hated Alakazam. In the first gen of Pokemon, Psychic Pokemon were pretty much OP. And be that as it may, there wasn't really any Pokemon or moves that were super effective against Psychic-type Pokemon that were actually viable to use. Bug-type moves, there weren't many of. There were no Dark-type Pokemon in the first gen either, so they didn't really have anything standing in their way. So every time I would go to Cynthia's gym, I would always get destroyed because my team wasn't prepared for Psychic Pokemon. Or it's not even the fact that it has all Psychic moves, it has a variety of stuff. Like you can have Psychic, Thunderbolt, Recover, Ice Punch, you name it. So Alakazam was always one of my hated Pokemon, mainly because of this reason. I also don't really care for its mustache. It just looks dumb. So it's something I can't really look past. While it's a useful Pokemon, it's definitely my most hated Pokemon in the Kanto region. And that's about it. That's my whole thoughts on Kanto as a whole for Pokemon-wise. So, hey, tell me which Pokemon you don't care for in the first gen, or if I'm wrong, let me know. And we'll see you for our next part, which is going to cover the Johto region. Until then, I've been Ace Scorcher. You have a great day, and I'll see you later. Bye.